Georgia Bulldogs coming off an interesting affair against Missouri. They were not necessarily taken to the wire, but tough four-quarter game and a 9-point win over the Tigers, and an interesting affair coming to the hedges, between the hedges once again this Saturday with Ole Miss coming to town. We've got Anthony Dasher on the line from Rivals, UGAsports.com. Anthony, good to see you. What's going on today?
Hey, Mark, just getting ready for another big game.
There it is. Ole Miss, they've got a lot to play for.
Yeah.
They need something to happen to Alabama because they need a loss there, really two. So it's probably out of the cards for Ole Miss to get to an SEC championship game. But with only one loss sitting in the top 10, they would love to play themselves into a position at 11-1 with only a loss to Bama and a win over Georgia. So they're still in the college football playoff conversation. And so this may be a bigger game than maybe we anticipated when we looked at the schedule in the offseason.
Well, we knew it was going to be a pretty important game, I think, because Ole Miss, look at what they had coming offensively. I mean, I know there were some questions initially about Jackson Dart and how he would do at quarterback, but he's been one of the better, QBs in the league this year. And combine what they got at wide receiver and Judkins at running back. This is a pretty tough offensive team. I think it's a little bit better what they saw last week. That defensively, that may be another question. I'm not sure if the Rebels are quite as good as Missouri was last week. But it's definitely shaping up to be a big game. It's going to be at night. A lot of noise. It's going to be kind of crazy atmosphere, tomorrow, Saturday night, rather.
Brock Bowers is back on the practice field doing some running around. I don't know how active he is at practice. Maybe you can shed some light on that. But any thoughts about him getting back on the field this week? Probably still a long shot, I would think.
I think he might play. He was actually doing some jogging last week, and with me, Jack Saint, yesterday, his GPS numbers was 19, 20 miles per hour, straight line running. So, again, straight line running is not football running. He's still got the, work on cuts, that sort of thing. He's still got some boxes he needs to check, but he is well on his way to coming back. If he doesn't play this week, I'm almost certain he'll play, next week at Tennessee. But right now, I think we'll see Brock Bowers in some role. I don't think he'll play the entire game, but it could be a deal where he gets 5 or 6, 7 snaps, even if it's just as a decoy. He's giving Lane Kiffin and his defensive coach a lot to think about right now.
Yeah, and you mentioned Missouri, a stout defensive unit. Ole Miss, we know Lane Kiffin, known for mixing and matching and being able to set up a defense, loves the running game. Maybe not a lot of people outside the SEC understands how well Ole Miss runs the football and has under Lane Kiffin. Just your thoughts about what maybe kept Missouri in the game where Georgia's still maybe not on par with what they've been the last couple of years, and where Ole Miss may look to take advantage.
I lost you there for just a second, Mark. You kind of phased out on me. Can you repeat that?
Sure. Yeah, basically just in regards to Ole Miss running the football well. Quinshon Judkins, they've been one of the top rushing teams in the conference the last few years, and how that presents to the Georgia defense.
Oh, I think it's a huge deal in this ball game. If you look at, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Quinshon, I think he leads the SEC. Well, he leads the SEC in rushing, number one, but also yards after contact is one of the most impressive, things about this guy. Georgia's going to have to gang tackle it. One person's not going to bring this guy down, and they're going to have to really do as good a job, if not better job, they've done all year long with the tackling, because if he gets going, that gets their passing game, in stride as well. And if Ole Miss can do what they've done offensively the last few weeks, it's going to be difficult for Georgia's defense to keep up.
Carson Beck still on schedule in regards to progress, improvements, seeing him get even more comfortable and connected with his receivers?
No doubt. I mean, he's thrown for at least 250 yards in every game he's played this year. And he's a guy who does extremely well against the blitz. Now, Ole Miss is one of the top blitzing teams in the SEC. They'll look to put a lot of pressure on him, but so far, that's been Carson's strength. He has not been phased. People keep waiting for him to have a first-year starter moment, but so far he has not had that. Can Ole Miss and their pressure make that happen? We'll find out. But so far, Carson has done everything that Coach Smart and Mike Bobo have wanted him to do.
Anthony, my thought with the college football playoff rankings is that who knows? I don't know that this was asked last night. Because you got 1, 2, 3, and 4, but sometimes the committee will let us know when somebody moves. Well, there was hardly any distance between, let's say, number 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, or there was a lot of distance between 3 and 4, because they can always play that game in the aftermath of making some moves. But of course, Georgia's coming off a win against a quality opponent that, by the way, as a side note, I don't think Missouri should have dropped in the rankings. I think, if anything, they confirmed that was their best performance of the year. Regardless, that Georgia's pushing Ohio State 1-2, and this may be a game that they turn the trick and move to number 1 with another extremely quality win. And some people out there may say, what does that really matter? But if they get into an SEC championship game and lose a close game, maybe that keeps them safely in the top 4.
Yeah, we saw that in 2021. That's exactly what happened. And yeah, Georgia's going to have a very good chance to, surpass Ohio State if Georgia, can keep winning. Ole Miss is right now number 9 in the CFP rankings. Tennessee, I believe, is number 13 in CFP rankings. And that one's on the road. If Georgia can get by that, win the SEC championship, then yeah, I think they would jump Ohio State at that point in time. But give the Buckeyes some credit to this point. They've got a couple of very big road wins, and ultimately that's the difference and why they're number 1 right now, and Georgia is number 2. But like I said, Georgia has some great opportunities in these next few weeks to make a move.
We can make the ultimate comparison of this team versus the last 2 national championship teams once it's all said and done. But right now, do you have any thoughts about how this particular team compares to the last 2?
I don't think it's as good. I mean, that's not a knock on the guys who are playing this year. I mean, the previous two teams that were just awesome. I mean, the 21 team, that defense was a generational defense. I mean, those guys did not allow anything. Last year's D was not too far off of that, and this year's defense is a little bit off of what last year's defense was. But again, it's a team that's proven to be very resilient. A lot of these guys have been through the wars of those previous 2 seasons. They know what it takes to win, and again, Georgia has found itself behind in several games this year and found a way to come back and win. Ultimately, it's going to catch up with them. Will it be this year? We'll find out here soon enough. But right now, it's a team that's playing with a lot of confidence, even though, like I said, they've had some things kind of go wrong to start some contests. But it's a team that's playing some very good football right now overall, and they're going to have a chance to do something special.
Georgia, an 11-point favorite at home against Ole Miss. The Rebels still much to play for at 8-1 themselves. Anthony Dasher's work is at UGAsports.com on Rivals, so check out what Anthony has for us right there. Anthony, enjoy the game. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, Mark. Anytime, man.